Oh boy, the mean sex. It's a very, very mixed opinion based for me because I really think that this episode could have the potential to be one of the greatest episodes from season 8. But on the other hand, it has probably one of the most wasted potentials that they ever did involving Queen Chrysalis. Because in case if you don't remember, this was the first time that we get to see her since the 6th finale. This is just really unbelievable to see Queen Chrysalis be in a situation where she's all by herself, but without any changelings. But, oh my god. Just by watching this episode, I'm completely having a hard time either liking it or completely hating it. And that's due to the mean counterparts of the main 6. Now, Queen Chrysalis made 6 counterparts involving the main 6, and she decides to use them in order to go against the other characters so that Starlight Glimmer might have a weakness. However, it didn't turn out well because towards the end of the episode, it completely backfired on her, and it didn't help her to get some kind of power from the Tree of Harmony. And you wanna know what this episode contains? Mainly the the other characters, mainly the good characters, go through a situation where they encounter mean counterparts of themselves, and we get a lesson that, apparently there wasn't a lesson to be learned from this episode involving the mean counterparts or learning to be nice. It just turns out that the other characters didn't encounter Queen Chrysalis whatsoever. Not even Starlight Glimmer encountered Queen Chrysalis. This is just really unbelievable. And this is just basically the elements that we saw from the Season 2 premiere, which is the Return of Harmony. But this is just done way worse. And that premiere came out in 2011, which was almost 7 years from the premiere of this episode. I honestly don't think that this episode was really good, but at the same time, it could have been much more better. This episode was a huge disappointment in my view, because we get to see a returning character, but she's reduced into this situation where the other characters are just bad-mouthing her, and it completely backfires on her. Yeah, it just backfires on her at the end. And when the other characters are just expects that some of the stuff that completely happens to them is just basically what friends do. They don't usually get along at the same time because they're completely different, and the fact that it just really doesn't work, that they're just encountering so many situations, and then they just go, oh well, it just happens a lot, going to the cave, which is by the Tree of Harmony, and act like Queen Chrysalis wasn't by them whatsoever. It's just really disappointing, especially that people say that this is the mid-finale of Season 8, since that this was an episode, the 13th episode of Season 8. You know, I can easily accept that, but I actually thought that this was going to be very interesting, to say the least. But when the fact that Starlight Glimmer is reduced to being the only character helping out the main 6's stuff and supplies, it's just, I really feel bad for Starlight Glimmer in this, considering the fact that she was one of the reasons that she saved the other characters from destruction from the changelings. And just watching her getting reduced like this, it really kind of makes her appearance here just feels really mean-spirited and really completely turned down. I really think that this episode could have been much more better if the other characters at least encounter Queen Chrysalis for a huge conclusion. I mean, if you're not going to have Queen Chrysalis meet the other characters, mainly the real counterparts, then that's fine. But at least have the other characters have some kind of mind that Queen Chrysalis is causing all this destruction. I know that these characters aren't supposed to be very intelligent, But come on. This is just really difficult for me to take it seriously to see a mean counterpart of Flashlight being mean to other characters. That's to me to be mean to animals and stuff. And just by watching this concept of seeing Queen Crystal's plan completely worked but then backfired at the end, at this point I really think that Queen Crystal is just... I just don't know what she's going to do next. I mean, she lost her army, so decided to make mean counterparts, but then it backfires at her at the end. I just don't understand what they're going to do to Queen Callisto now. I really expected something because even in my review of the Season 6 finale, which is one of my audio videos since that it came out in 2016, which was the time I became a brony and made my YouTube channel, I even had an idea of what they're going to go through with this. Granted, it didn't happen in the Season 7 premiere, but at least it's better late than never in a situation where it happened in 2018. But my god, I really feel bad for Queen Chrysalis. I really don't know what she's going to do now, since that she's all by herself. Maybe she might do an alliance. Maybe she might do an alliance with somebody, but we've seen that cliche so many times. I think that at this point, it's gonna be very predictable. I understand that whole Moles is just trying to break apart the main six, but that didn't turn out well, considering the fact that the magic friendship is way too powerful and stuff. Man. This episode was really, really disappointing, and I really think that this episode was one of the only examples on why I think that this episode is just that this show is just running out of ideas when it comes to newer seasons, since that this doesn't involve the student's sex whatsoever. This episode gets a 4 out of 10. I'm not making this up. I really didn't enjoy this episode. It could have had potential, but it was toned down into the development of Queen Chrysalis and Starlight Glimmer. Ugh. I know for a fact that Queen Chrysalis is going to return in Season 9, because if she doesn't and this is just going to end off, then I really think that at this point Queen Chrysalis' character is completely maxed out and there's really no point for her to having her be around. And it goes to show. Anyway, I'll see you next time with more Season 8 episode reviews.